Welcome back to Veronica Live, and we are here with a local candidate for where we live. It's Daniel Raffield, and he's running for the Bay County Commissioner District 1 seat. And I knew I had to have him on the show because I've been driving around Bay County here in Florida, and everywhere I look is a Daniel sign, every single place. So great job on getting the message out that you need to be on my show. I was getting these sign signals everywhere. So welcome to Veronica Live, Daniel.
Thank you and John so much for having me, Miss Veronica. It means the world to me to have a platform where we're able to talk to people and encourage people that good things are coming and great things are here. Just time to push. So I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Well, we're happy to have you. And I wanted people to get to know you. You sent me your biography, and you've been part of Bay County for a long time. So tell us your background, how long you've been here and what you've been doing.
So for myself, I moved to Panama City in 2005 via Port St. Joe. My family settled in Bay County in what is today Tyndall Air Force Base in the early 1900s. The Raffields first came here in 1891. We homesteaded here in 1901, and started commercial fishing. And my family to this day is still in the commercial fishing business. I am actually fifth generation by trade commercial fisherman. Even though I don't practice that any longer, my family still does. I'm a realtor here in Bay County, but my family came from very humble beginnings. We are blue collar as it gets. Originally from Georgia, Fitzgerald and Macon, Georgia. We moved here from those two locations early on.
And what kind of fish do they catch? Are they catching my dinner fish tonight, I guess, is my question.
So yes, the fish that my family catches are the bait that you would use to catch your grouper, to catch your snapper. We catch cigar minnows.
Okay.
Sardines, and that's the fish we target.
Okay, well, good. I am a grouper eater, so good job on the family business there. And tell us, so you've been a real estate agent here locally. So how's the market, I guess?
Veronica, right now it's not great.
Okay.
Interest rates right now are very high. It's hard for young people to buy a home, which is scary. The predictions are, they say the next 3 years that 80% of people will be renting. So we are slowly losing the American dream. That terrifies me. I have a 23-year-old daughter, and I'm scared for her because young people, it's tough. It's different than when I was 23. You could find somewhere to live. These kids these days are in trouble, and there seems to be no end in sight for what's coming. And, my children were the biggest reasons why I decided to run. I felt like my babies needed a voice, my 10-year-old and my 23-year-old. And they were my why.
Well, that's great.
So do you think part of the issues out there, are just the industrial base that we have here, the economic base that we have in Bay County? I mean, we have a lot of tourism and stuff, but it seems to be shifting a bit, from what I can see.
Well, you're talking industrial jobs. You're referring to the paper mill, I assume, shutting down.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of industrial jobs, and that were. And they tend to be more core economic jobs because they're, 365 days a year kind of thing, as opposed to the tourist, which is very, very seasonal.
Correct. And that's something that we've watched happen all through the Panhandle. We've seen this in smaller communities all the way from, if you will, Wakulla County, all the way into Bay County, Port St. Joe. Coastal line communities are losing industrial jobs. Blue-collar men and women are having a hard time finding work, because we have made everything directed towards tourism. We know that they're a huge part of the economic, what we do, but we also need to be fair to locals. Where do we house people? How do we fix the problems that they deal with? Because you can't continue to take their jobs and expect these people to make a living. We've got to do something to help them. And what the answer to that is, I look for it every day. I talk to people every day about how can we make this better for you? What can we do? If I'm elected into government, what can I do to help you? And so
Well,
these are all topics that need to be worked on.
Well, and we saw that with Mayor Sheldon losing because Mayor Tetzemere made that his platform it was about the locals, and so I think the locals like that. So, are there some issues that concern you the most that as a commissioner you'll be working?
So the issues that concern me the most right now are finding more commerce to come into our community and work, open up businesses. Give opportunity to people that don't have a 4-year degree. Maybe the young lady or young man that's working at the Outback Steakhouse that wants to do better in life, that can't afford to go to college, but wants to progress in life. Bring jobs into the community where we can employ him or her. Welcome people here. Tax breaks to people that want to come in and work and spend money in Bay County. Tax breaks to community people. As a taxpayer, you know as well as I do, my millage rate is going up 3% every year. Right now, today, I'm at 15.26 mills. That is substantial to a guy or girl that's trying to make a living, especially a young person.
Well, and
so
I know on your on the bio you sent me, you've got a lot of experience. You said in like infrastructure and the economy, commercial and residential development and quality of life. So talk about some of your experience that you'll bring to the table as a new commissioner.
Well, one of the things I'd like to do is revisit, Bay County has it was called the West Bay Sector Plan. And that was in 2003, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might be off on my year. Bay County had a plan for West Bay to 100,000 acres that we were going to develop and bring underground utilities to with the proper studies to make sure that everything was lined up. We could bring growth. We have to have growth. Bay County is growing. If you've been on 23rd Street today, you know that we are outgrowing what we have. So everything is growing north. But right now we don't have the utilities or the infrastructure to bring in the growth. And that's something that we need to look at. The taxes, in my opinion, need to come more for the tourist. When I go visit people out of town, I pay a bunch of taxes. And I'm okay with that because it lightens the load on the locals. So in my opinion, we need to look at those sources and see what we can do to garnish as much as we can for people that come and enjoy our county and lighten the burden on the local people.
It's interesting. It's interesting you mentioned the West Bay Sector Plan. That's something that I had almost forgotten about, and that was done largely in order to allow the airport to be moved, because under Florida's urban planning laws, it would have been considered blighted growth to put the airport out there where they did with no infrastructure in place. And so they kind of had to come up with the plan, in order to do that, to get it to pass muster with the state for development. I'm just curious that, I fly out of the airport, so I'm out there a lot. And there's a lot of activity that's been going on. The new FBO just opened up there, nice $30+ million investment that they did. But it seems to be dragging along. The airport's been open for 14 years now, and there's been really very little economic activity that they promised all this stuff, build it and they will come. And we've really seen very little economic activity out there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but where do you see the core growth? Are we overbuilding on the housing? I mean, I see all these new apartments being built out on the beach. I mean, tens of thousands of apartments.
It's so crazy right now. We went from none to a zillion.
Right, and it reminds me of the 1980s. When the mid 80s, late 80s, when we had the condo boom out on the beach, and then all of a sudden it blew up. When the interest rates went up. Are we heading for the same thing?
In my opinion, you asked the question what I thought about it. Were we overbuilding? No, I think we're losing paradise. But I think it's a necessity. The growth is coming here. Tennille Air Force Base is projected to move in over 30,000 people. That's 15,000 families. That's, you have to house them. So we know the projections over the next 5-10 years. Bay County is growing so fast. I think today we're at 194,000 Bay Countyans live here. That number is up. I think it's 15,000 over the last 5 years. So we know normal growth is coming. So to answer your question, where's it going? It can only go one place, and that's north, because the average person, guys, can't afford to buy in Bay County. When I bought my home here in 2012, I rented my house from 2005 to 2012, and then we bought. I paid $159,000 for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in Lynn Haven, Florida. Correction, 2-bathroom. Today, that house, if you run the comps on it, is $330,000. So affordable housing, we don't have that here. And it's not because nobody's not trying to. It's just the cost of land. It's so expensive. So now we're starting to see these northern communities grow and flourish from, Panama City Beach all the way to I-10. Look at the projections around that area. We're talking 30,000 homes in the next 5 to 7 years. And people are coming. So we have to have the infrastructure in place. And it has to be done, in my opinion, with respect to people, and it has to be governed in such a way that we're not killing paradise. Right? I mean, we have to preserve what we know.
Well, and we still have issues because driving around some of the roads here there's a lot of potholes, and there's some bad roads around Panama City. So what is your thoughts on that? Because it takes forever to get the money and then to fix the road, and it takes time. And 390, oh my gosh, I've been here for 10 years and I about ready want to poke my eye out. It's turning out it's turning out wonderful, but those orange things, what are those big orange barrels? Like, I'm sick of them. And then at night, they seem to change everything. And you're always, if you drive on there at night, I'm completely sober and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a scary racetrack, So your thoughts on infrastructure, please, with the growth.
So I'm so glad you asked that question, because that was going to lead into my next part. The half-cent surtax that Bay County pays. I am such an advocate for that. I know everybody hears the word tax, right? And we go, oh, it's another tax. Well, yeah, it's another tax. It's the money goes to repair those roads, to help build bridges in Bay County. It covers all municipalities in Bay County, all the way from Callaway, Mexico Beach, Lynn Haven, Panama City, Parker, the county as a whole. We have over 42 miles of roadway right now in this county that are considered poor or terrible. That half-cent sales tax is going towards those. You go right through Lynn Haven, you'll see Bradenton Road, Sarasota Lane, parts of 390. These roads are being improved by the half-cent sales tax. We have over 136 miles of dirt roads in Bay County. And the long-term goal for the half-cent sales tax is for this money to pave these roads. And a lot of people say, well, dadgum, Daniel, why do we need to pave dirt roads out in, say, Youngstown? Well, if your grandmother has a heart attack, EMS has got to get to her. If it's raining, there's a problem. Now we have an issue with roadways and taking care of people we love. So I'm a huge proponent for the half-cent sales tax. It's a necessity.
The one thing, Daniel, I don't know if you're familiar with my background. I ran for county commission twice against Bill Dozier. So I've been down the road on sales taxes and paving. And the half-cent sales tax is, in my mind, and I ran numbers years ago when it was first proposed. It just didn't generate enough revenue to make any meaningful impact on paving the roads. And particularly after the hurricane, the trucks that came in, the debris removal trucks, destroyed so much of the road infrastructure. Why is the county not pushed for grants or FEMA money or something to fix the roads that were caused by the debris removal damage? I mean, it doesn't seem to be making any progress. It's some 5 years after the event, they're silent on repaving these destroyed roads.
Mm-hmm. And I would need to check and see where the monies came from to repair the roads on Sarasota Lane. That was a prime example of those trucks that you're talking about that came through and destroyed them. That was one of my biggest gripes after Hurricane Michael. Dadgum, we have ruined, our roads, and we're left with that as far as citizens now that have to drive through potholes. You'll blow out a front end on a pickup truck no time hitting some of these potholes. Mm-hmm. But some of this money the half-cent sales tax is matched by state grant money. And I would need to look at those numbers to give you an exact number, but I've studied them. For example, $3 million for road surfacing projects in Bay County. Some of that money is being subsidized by the state and the Fed. And to exactly what money it is, I would be telling you a story. I don't know. I need to research that.
Well, I think it's the per mile cost of repaving the road, particularly with the inflation has gone up so dramatically that it's just becoming, unaffordable. $6 million is nothing. That's a couple miles of road these days. And
it's probably 6 miles of road, to be honest.
And that was my point years ago was the half-cent sales tax was not generating enough revenue, and it allowed them to take money that would have went to the roads and put it somewhere else in their general budget. So it was kind of like, robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. And the dirt road number has not gone down in 40 years. The number of miles of dirt roads has not changed in 40 years. The participating paving project was a failure.
Well, the 2 miles of dirt road by my house have been paved, so there's 2 miles we could take off the dirt road that I know of.
Well, we've had it before, yeah. but I'm just curious. It's like, we spend all this money on the CRA, the beach. I'd be curious, where are you on the beach CRA? Because I was dead set against those, and I pushed the legislature to eliminate them. But, the beach ends up spending disproportionately a lot of money that comes from Bay County that should be used for county funds. Where are you on the CRAs?
I've studied just enough about the CRA to be dangerous. I do know that, the CRA caused the county right at $900,000 deficit as a whole, which is, one reason why our county taxes are increasing. That long story short, I'm not a government guy. I'm for the people. So anytime we see a tax increase, it makes me aggravated because we work hard enough for what we have. That CRA money is generated to stay within the district. And please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm a blue collar guy. I've been building signs all morning, 21 signs on the trailer, and it's hot. So I'm gonna tell you what I know.
I feel for you, brother. I feel for you on that.
Hey, brother, it's okay. We're right where the good Lord told us to be, but the demographic of the CRA, and to my understanding, every dollar that's generated in that zone stays in that zone. Am I correct?
Yes, including the county money. The money that should go to the county stays in that zone. That's why the county ends up paying all that money to the CRA.
That's right.
The county doesn't get to choose where to spend it.
Yes, sir. So in my opinion, and I need further research, but I think those two should be separated. I think, they're coming back after the county money after they've already got their money out of their zoning.
Yep.
And I know, like I say, I know just enough about that to be dangerous. And I don't want to give you my opinion until I study both sides of it.
So, Daniel, why there's two other, Tommy Ham is the incumbent, and then there's another person running for the seat. Why are you, let's start first with, why are you better than Tommy Ham for this seat?
I won't say that I'm better than Tommy Ham. Uh-oh.
Oh, no, my phone thought I was talking to it. Yeah, sorry. My phone got excited when I said you're, running for office. Okay. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Normally I'm fighting with Alexa. Sorry.
That's okay. What I have to offer is I'm a 44-year-old guy. I'm a father of two. I'm a fixer. I'm a listener. I'm a neck hugger. I'm a go-seer. I'm an out in the public kind of guy. I've always been this guy. I've never been anything but what you see. If I tell you I'll do something, I'll do it. I'm out in the community. I have served, I think about jobs that I've had at one time. Somebody said the other day, man, you've had all these jobs. And I said, well, I had all those jobs at one time. There were 5 of them. I worked 5 jobs at one time. And that was up until February. And it's not because I love to work. And every one of those jobs were in the service industry. Sales. I worked for the funeral home, a local funeral home here in town. Met so many great families. Sold real estate. Sold equipment. High school football on the radio. I've done a lot of different things. I would hate to say that I'm better than anybody because I'm not. But what I will give you is I am a go-getter. I don't mind the work. I don't mind rolling my sleeves up. I have a baby in this community, a 10-year-old who will always be my baby. I giggle when I call her my baby, but she's still my baby. I have a vested interest in making sure this county is left better than we found it. By all means possible, I'm here to go to work. And I'm willing to listen to both sides. I'm willing. I'm not for me. I'm for everybody. If it's good for the county and it's good for the people, then I'm good with it. And that's where I'm at. So I don't want to say that I'm better than Tommy. I wouldn't say that ever.
Wow. Well, it's I love what you said. That's wonderful. And how can people meet you or find out more about you, Daniel?
I'm going to drop it right here, Miss Veronica. They can call me. You can call my personal cell phone number. My number is 850-238-7826, and I'll give it to you again, 850-238-7826. People can call me. We're going to have some cookouts in town. We're having a get-together, planning to get together this coming up month. I'm going to start door knocking soon. I want to be in people's face. I want people to feel like they know me. They can call me because that's what your representative is supposed to do. Yeah. On county level, state level, federal level. That is what you do. Do you make the right decision every day? You sure as crap try to, but you can't make everybody happy. And going into it, I know that, but I'm going to try my hardest to make everybody happy. I know it's hard, but we're here to work for the people, Veronica. And that's the long and short of it.
And did we miss any issues that you wanted to let the people know, Daniel?
No, ma'am. There's nothing off the top of my head besides, I will say this, drink plenty of Gatorade because summer's here and it's hot outside.
Well, I did want to ask you, where were you when Hurricane Michael hit? How did that impact you? And how do you think that'll make you a better commissioner?
So I was in my home in Lynn Haven. My wife and my daughter and my mother and my father and my German Shepherd dog. We were at home. That was, won't ever forget that day, October the 10th, 2018, that storm rolled in. And it completely changed the way I saw material items. And I'm going to tell you how. So after Hurricane Michael, it blew through, we immediately assessed our situation to check to make sure that we were good, our home, my home. My father, who was diabetic, I assessed him, made sure he was good to go. We had some insulin for him, so he was good. Finally got cut out, and we were able to get him to Tallahassee so he could go stay with some family. And then we started cleaning up. And God put me in so many great places during that time and taught me so many lessons. But my biggest lesson that I got out of that was I remember being on top of a pile of junk in Southport at the dump out there. And I remember a buddy and I, we were taking debris out of a big trash trailer. And I looked on the ground and I remember seeing a refrigerator door amongst all this trash. And I get teary-eyed talking about it because it really opened my eyes. It was pictures of families and mothers and daughters and sons and all the things that we cherish, our family. And then there was a frame or a door off a house. And I got to thinking, my goodness, somebody busted their hump to buy that home, and that home today is in a pile of rubble. What does that really mean? It doesn't mean anything because what's important is your family. Your family is what matters. And that storm taught me that. And I'll forever be grateful for those experiences that I got.
And it sounds like faith plays a part in your life too. So talk about that.
I grew up a Baptist. My mother was Catholic. It's kind of funny. My mother was Catholic. My father grew up Pentecostal, and we ended up in a Baptist church in Port St. Joe. And then as a kid, I would come to church in Panama City with my grandparents, my nanny and papa, over to a Pentecostal church. So God has always been the number one thing in my life. And I tell people all the time, I'm flesh. There's days I wake up and I want to kick the coffee can. And I have hard times, but my faith has brought me to where I am today. It took me 12 years, Veronica, to get here. 12 years. This wasn't a fly-by-night kind of deal. We prayed. We talked to people that had wisdom. We sought wise counsel, and we decided to run. We felt like it was the right time to run, and it took a lot of prayer. and we believe that we're where God wants us.
Well, I love it. And we've been talking with Daniel Raffield. Raffield?
And just
Raffield.
Yeah.
Raffield.
Okay. One other thing, quick thing, Daniel. This election is we so far only Republicans have filed for this, and qualifying is the first week in June when that finishes up. So most likely it's going to end up being a race that's decided in the Republican primary. So that ought to be interesting. Are you working to make sure you get everybody out, including the Democrats, to vote for the
yes,
primary? Because it's going to be an open election.
Yes, I am, and I'm talking like I told you. I know people on both sides of the aisle. I don't look at blue or red. I look at people. Yes, and I've talked to my friends, and we feel like we have a lot of support. So yes, to answer your question, yes, sir. We are reaching out to everyone, encouraging people to vote.
Well, fantastic. Okay, Daniel Raffield, right? For Bay County Commissioner
Yes, ma'am.
District 1, and you're a working man, working for the people is your slogan. And it's been such a pleasure and great job dominating with signs everywhere. And we'll have you back for sure on Veronica Live.
Thank you so much, Miss Veronica, and I appreciate you two both. If you ever need me, you have my number. Please call me anytime.
All right. Well, we'll be right back on Veronica Live.